In this video, I'm going to show you how I created multiple agents all working on the same project without juggling ports and without the complexity of Git work trees. To get started, just hit the button, log in with GitHub or Google, whichever you prefer. Once you're there, you'll be dropped into your namespace dashboard. I'll first connect my GitHub organization. I'll go ahead and choose the website repo. I'll also choose one more repo that we'll see a little bit later in the video. I'll install the Namespace app. Now I can go ahead and create my first Devbox. So I'll choose the website. I'll go ahead and just choose medium and I'll leave default image set and I'll go ahead and create. So now you'll see it's going to spin up the Devbox and it should be really quick to do this. There you go, just in a matter of seconds. We've got a Devbox set up for the website and it checked out my repository. So if I click over to terminal, here's all of my website files. And I can also actually go ahead and open this project in VS Code. So it's going to go ahead and connect directly to that Devbox over SSH. Here's all of my files here for the website. So if I go back to the dashboard, I can go to session and I'll create a new session called app. In this session, I'll just go ahead and do npm install, and then I'll do npm run dev. So here's my website running in the Devbox. The next thing I want to do is install the Devbox CLI. So I can do that by copying this command, install it. And now with that, I can type Devbox port forward. And I'll port forward to the Astro server. So if I type 43210, that'll be my local port, and then 4321 will be the Astro server on my Devbox. So I've chosen that Devbox that we're running, and now we've got 43210 is forwarding to 4321. If I go over to localhost 43210, there's my build at scale website running directly in the Devbox. And if I go back to VS Code, I can go into components, go into hero, and I just want to show you that this is actually auto loading as well. If I type building in public, and there you go. So this is a remote running Astro server connected directly from my VS Code instance, and it's live reloading on changes. So with very minimal setup, I get a VM running in the cloud. It's running my project. It's connected to my VS Code. I could develop it here, and that's all great. The next thing that I want to do is actually create multiple dev boxes, and I want them all to be able to work on the same project in parallel. And because I'm really diving into OpenCode, I'm going to set up OpenCode on the dev box as well. And I will just mention before I do that, they actually have built-in images with agents. So this comes pre-installed with Claude Code and OpenCode. So if you don't need a customized dev box, which is what I'm about to set up, you can actually run the default image with agents and get that kind of pre-installed for you. So what I've done is I've created a very basic Ruby on Rails app that's just scaffolding a post resource. So you can create posts with a simple title and a message. And we have in this directory a Docker file and then a Docker file devbox. So the Docker file devbox is what's going to be used for our custom devbox image. And this is a very minimal devbox just to run the application. So it uses Ruby, runs the bundle install, OpenCode is installed, and then it runs the dev server. What I also put together is a namespace devbox skill. You can install it with this command here, npx skills add, and then the repo URL. You'll also want to install the namespace CLI for Devbox, which we've got that already. And then you also want the cloud CLI, which is the nsc command, and that's going to let you manage the vault secrets. So make sure you add both of those as well. And then for repo access and PRs, make sure you've got the GitHub CLI as well. So if I type Devbox, I've got my Devbox command, and I'll tell it, spin up a new dev box for this project, and I want you to send the OpenCode agent running on the dev box a message, have it update the button styles to square and a green color. So what this is going to do is it's going to look at my project. It's going to find that I've got a Devbox Docker file, and a Devbox YAML file. Both of those are going to be used to create the Devbox. It's also looking to see if I have an OpenCode API key for the Devbox to use. So I've already got one set up in Namespace. It's using that to create the Devbox. And now it's got the details here. It's going to use app port, tunnel port. It's created the Devbox here. Update button styles, configuring SSH, opening tunnels. So now it's dispatching the prompt to update the buttons. And here's my port forwarded URLs. So we've got the Rails app here and the OpenCode app here. So I'll go ahead and open both of these. Here's the Rails app, and then here's the OpenCode app. So this is the OpenCode server running on the Devbox, and you can see it's got a prompt that it's already working on. So what I really like about this is I can actually monitor and steer the model if I need to, and it's running directly on the Devbox. So it has its own isolated environment to work on the code. It has its own ports set up for working on the app. Everything is set up and contained for it to work on the project. Looks like it's finished with the changes that we requested. So if I open up the Rails app, hit refresh, there we go. It's got my changes to the green button style with square corners. So that's a very simple example, obviously, but what I want to show you there is this is fully running on Devbox in a contained environment. It's using its own database, its own app server, and its own OpenCode session. So it has all of the tools that it needs to make changes to the app. Let's go ahead and make another request. Let's spin up a whole separate Devbox, and then we'll see it making the changes completely separately from each other. So let's type Devbox. Go ahead and create another Devbox for a separate task. This time, I want you to add a date field to the post so that we can store when the post was created or when it was authored. Let's let it do that. Spinning up a second Devbox. Let's see, already in place, the spec and the image, creating the Devbox. If we go over to the UI, we can see there's that Devbox spinning up. And in just a couple seconds, it's already done. It's going to spin up the sessions as well. You've got the database booting up, the app is booting up, and then you've got the OpenCode server is listening. It's all set up. Okay, so now it's dispatching that task to add the date field. Looks like this is our URL for OpenCode. I'll go ahead and open that up. And here's our workspace, and we should have the request. Here it is. So there we go. It's instructed the OpenCode agent to add a date field to the post model. It's going to go ahead and work through that task. And by the way, I'm using Qwen 3.7 Max, which just released. You can actually tell the Devbox / command, just tell it any OpenCode available model. If you go to this page on the OpenCode docs and go to endpoints, you can see all of these model IDs. So if you're using OpenCode Go, you can tell Devbox to use OpenCode Go / GLM 5.1 or KMK 2.6, and it's going to go ahead and launch OpenCode on the Devbox with that model instead. Might as well show you what I mean by that, just so you can see it working. Let's go ahead and create a third Devbox. So there's my two Devboxes. Let me go ahead and start another one. So Devbox. Go ahead and launch a third Devbox. This time, I want you to go ahead and add another field for post. This time, I want to be able to have a field for the author of the post. For this task, go ahead and use OpenCode Go / and let's go ahead and try DeepSeek v4 Pro. Okay, so it'll spin up a third Devbox and use the OpenCode Go DeepSeek v4 Pro endpoint. Let's go to our second Devbox. While that's spinning up, we'll go to the post date field. Here's the Rails app, and you can see the buttons are the previous style because that change has not been made on this Devbox. So if we go to new post, now we see that we have an authored date field. So this Devbox has added that field for us. And if I change back over to this one, here's the Devbox with the button styles. So we've got two separate Devboxes doing different tasks, and then we should have a third one spinning up really soon. So here's the post author field Devbox using DeepSeek v4 Pro. If I open up the OpenCode instance, go to the session, and you can see here's the model DeepSeek DeepSeek V4 Pro. What I love about this is I can quickly dispatch a Devbox with OpenCode running on it, and I can tell it which model I want to use. Maybe I want to experiment with different models using the same prompt. So with this skill, I could spin up 3 different models at the same time, give it a prompt for a website design, and then I compare side by side what that would look like. So here you go. It's generating the migration for the author column. Let's check on the post author field and let's see if it's in our Rails app here. So there we go. We've got author, and you'll notice it doesn't have date and it doesn't have the button changes because those are on the separate environments. Everything is fully contained within their own Devbox. So here's that author one, the author field, and here's the button styles. So another thing we can do with this is we can delegate work from a GitHub issue directly into a Devbox running OpenCode and get a PR coming back to us. I'll say build out and style the post index page. So we'll create that issue, and it's issue number 1. And so I'll go ahead and do Devbox, spin up a new Devbox, and implement GitHub issue number 1. So here we go. It knows that it's in issue dispatch mode. The skill knows that it needs to read the issue prompt. And now it's going to create another Devbox, tag it with issue 1. It's going to have another port of its own. So it'll have an app port and a OpenCode port. And there we go. It's created the Devbox. Now it's creating the prompt for the issue. There we go. You're working on GitHub issue number 1. Build out and style the post index page. And once it's done, it should go ahead and create the pull request. And there's our 4 Devboxes running, each with their own ports and their own OpenCode session running. I'll go ahead and open the OpenCode. And there we go. It's styling that up. Let's go ahead and open the Rails server for it as well. There we go. It's already getting some progress. You got a much nicer empty state with the button here. Let me go ahead and create a post. Hello, YouTube. Testing Devbox. And let's create post. So there we go. It's got a much nicer style for the index page. So back over in OpenCode, it's already done and it's created a PR. Here's the pull request and it says closes number 1. And we've got the files all here and we can go ahead and just merge that in. So that was it for this video. I really appreciate Namespace for sponsoring this video. I'll leave a link in the description you can use to make sure they know I sent you over there. Definitely recommend giving Devbox a try. And I'm really just scratching the surface in this video. I didn't show you that you can install skills on the agents running on the Devbox. You can have them using Agent Browser to test the actual implementation. There's just so much room for opportunity. So if you want to see more of that, let me know what you think in the comments. Like the video if you found it useful and subscribe for more in the future.